What's going on, guys? No guys here. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to go over the 4-4-2 custom tactics and instructions. I'm going to show you tactics and instructions that I'm going to use. I'm going to go through each incrementally. We are going to use the 4-4-2 second variation as opposed to the flat. The reason why is the flat, these guys are center mids. They're a bit more further forward and therefore it's inherently more harder to defend. If you're struggling with defending and you want to play a 4-4-2, you want to play attacking, but you still want that stability at the back, it's better off going with the 4-4-2 second variation to use in the game. We're going to attack in a 4-4-2 and we defend, it'll be like a 4-4-1-1. I'll explain how that all works as well. Let's go over to tactics. Let's first start off. Now it's very important that you listen to the reasonings why, and I'm going to go through each thing incrementally. Because this is an attacking formation, yes we have it in the defensive slot, but we just have it in that slot, but it is an attacking formation. It's the formation if you're drawing, or let's say you're losing, this would be the formation if you want to have fun, because truthfully speaking, the 4-4-2 is a formation to have fun with. Now we've got with pressure on every touch. Now team press is very effective. What pressure on heavy touch is basically your team will sporadically press when there's a good chance for you to win the ball. So when your opponent takes a heavy touch or he faces away from goal or he's under pressure, your team will automatically press towards the ball carrier. Now that's very effective. Unlike press after possession loss, they always press non-stop. Now your opponent might know what you're doing and he might try to outsmart you, especially in a 4-4-2. He could overpower you midfield with like a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. So pressure on every touch, the game decides when to press for you. Of course you can still use team press with this if you want to, but I'd recommend pressure on heavy touch. Now with the width, we've gone with 5. The 4-4-2 probably is the most balanced formation in terms of, I suppose you can say, the formation as a whole. And you've got 2 CDMs, 2 strikers, 2 centre mids occupying most of the pitch, so that stability on all fronts. But we've gone with a wider, I suppose you can say a wider width than normal. Normally I would go around about 4 or 3, but because it's attacking formation, if my opponent has the ball, I want my team to be spread out. That way when I'm defending, I can quickly switch to different players and gather the ball much more quickly, especially if I'm using pressure on every touch. You want to be ideally wider. That way you basically press from a wide position, and that way you kind of restrict your opponent by going inwards, that makes sense, as opposed to working your way outwards with a narrow formation. Now with the depth, we've just gone just 1 lower to 4 depth. The reason why is obviously we don't want to be too low, and I think with that CDM they do provide that stability. If you're going to use a 4-4-2 flat, you can do the exact same thing, but I would say use 3. But because we're using the second variation, don't forget we do have the 2 CDMs in place, so it's a bit different in regards to defending. So that's why I've gone with the 4-4-2 second variation, and I suppose you can say you can always bring back the CDMs or bring them forward if you want to. Now, for defensive style, I've gone with balanced. The reason why is because I got getting behind in most of my left mids and right mids and strikers, which I'll get onto in a second. So there's no use of using long ball. We have him on balanced, and that way the center mid goes forward when, I suppose you can say, his work rates and his player makes the run, if that makes sense, as opposed to the game forcing him to do so. You can change this to long ball if you do want to, but I would recommend on balance. With the width, we've gone to 4. I do find the left mid and right mid are just too far away. We haven't got them on cut inside. So with the left mid and right mid, we ideally want these left mid and right mids to kind of be a bit more narrow when you're attacking as opposed to being so wide. That way you have more space to work with and you have more link-up play, more players closer by. So we've gone with a bit more narrow attacking width. It doesn't really change it too much. And the players in box, we've gone with 6, but you can increase this to 7 if you find yourself much of a crosser, you like to cross the ball in a lot, then you can definitely do that. Now let's go over to the instructions now. In terms of instructions, what I wanted to do in all the FIFAs is I want to defend in a 4-4-1-1. So you can ask, for example, Mbappe to come back on defense, and he'll make up that 4-5-1 where you defend in like in a 4. So you basically defend like this, you can argue, like this in this formation. But they patched that no longer works. So what's very important is you understand how the instructions will work. Now, we have both the strikers on stay central, right? This is really important, is you want these 2 players to always be in the middle. I don't prefer drift wide. I don't like, balance, because I want them to be, if I have Neymar on striker and Mbappe in striker, I want them to stay in striker. I don't want them to swap roles or to go around. And that's the reason why I have them on stay central. We have them on getting behind. This is why I was saying the long ball is not that effective. You don't really need long ball too much because you have the getting behind option. And for Neymar, we have them on stay forward. Now, this is important. If you have an attacking player here, someone like Neymar or someone like Ben Yedder, it's worth putting them on stay forward for 2 reasons. One, that they're ready for the counter attack, but obviously if stamina is a big issue, you can put conservative interceptions. So if you're playing Ben Yedder in striker, which is obviously a very common player for loads of lower tier players, you haven't got the money to maybe afford the likes of Neymar, I'll definitely recommend putting stay forward. For the second striker, Mbappe, we do have come back on defense, stay central and get it behind. Essentially the same setup. The only difference is when you're defending, you'll come back just a little bit. So basically kind of like defending a somewhat 4-4-1-1. But that way when you build up, you'll have Mbappe basically behind Neymar when you're building up. So that way Neymar's in front. So when you do get the ball, you can do the quick 1-2s between them. So that way you still have that 4-2-3-1 like 1-2 system. And that way you still have the play with getting behind as well and come back and offense. Now, left mid and right mid. Okay, now we have gone with comeback and offense. This I think is really, really important. I don't think you can play a 4-4-2 without comeback and offense unless you're extremely good at bringing players back manually. I think it's a given. The only things that I haven't touched is, for example, trans creation. I've not put stay wide, free roam, or cut inside. I've left this on balance. I just think it works better that way. We have more getting behind. I just think the good thing is when you have the ball with your CDM, sometimes it makes it run down the wing, sometimes it makes it run inwards. So that's why we didn't use long ball. We used the getting behind function, and that way we have you can argue different styles of play. So you can go down the wing and you can go narrow. The key thing with the 4-4-2 is being patient. We have get into the box as well. So if you do get the ball with this side, you want to cross the ball in. You'll have Dembele running in last minute from the opposite side, obviously for those driven crosses as well. And for the opposite side opponents, we have the exact same thing. Come back in defense, get it behind, get into the box for a cross. You ideally want fast players here. People always ask me this. You want someone who's got like 90 pace, I would say, and above. Fast wingers, ideally 5-star skill moves if you can get them. But someone like Mane, someone like Salah, any of those players would do. Anyone that's really got pace. I just want to say, if you do want to get better at FIFA, I do have a paid advanced in-depth FIFA School Series. This is for all levels of those that want to improve in FIFA. This is different from YouTube videos. It's a progressive learning system where all the videos go completely in depth, and you won't find these videos on my YouTube channel. These go beyond the scope of typical YouTube videos. They're very long, elaborate videos explaining what you need to do and what you need to become a better game, explaining everything. So come join hundreds of others in a mature audience community for those looking to get better at FIFA. Link is in the description for more information. Patreon.com/Neil Guys. Of course, I have all of last year's videos as well, which all apply to this year, and I'll have new videos coming soon for FIFA 21. And it's a complete money back guarantee. So if after 1 month you decide that you didn't get better at FIFA, I'll refund your money back, and that way you won't lose anything. So come join the FIFA School Series. But anyway, back to the video. Then it comes to your CDMs. Now, one CDM, it's a defensive-minded CDM. Now, I've gone with Sissoko. I left him on cover center, stay back while attacking. His defensive behavior is unbalanced. I used to use cut passing lanes, but because you might know what I'm talking about, when you play a game, you'll try to mark a passing lane. The game will screw you over and the ball will go past you. So I was like, what's the point of using cut passing lanes? And using man mark, the players just mark up too tight. Sometimes it's worth leaving it on balance. I think this year balance is kind of the way to go for the most offensive one anyway. So I've got him on stay back, cover center. Now you can put conservative interceptions on this player, but because I want to be using pressure touch, and I want to be a bit more aggressive with this formation, I am going to leave him on balance. So do bear that in mind. The other CDM though, this is where you can have your, I suppose you can say your free roam, or your, I suppose you can say your extra attacking player that comes forward. Think about the Ramsey-esque player of Arsenal when he did. I've cut passing lanes on this one because generally speaking, when he gets dispossessed, he's going to be high up the pitch anyway. So I'd rather him just cut the passing lane as opposed to man marking someone. We have him on cover center as well because these two will cover the center and these guys will cover the wing when they come back and defend. And we have him conservative interceptions. That way he doesn't really run out too much. So if we do lose the ball, he'll kind of cut passing lanes, high up the pitch, but he won't basically give away his position. So he won't be running out crazily. And that way at least we have one CDM, worst case scenario, as like a backup choice. What I would say over here is attacking support, we have left him unbalanced. This is what's very important. I'd recommend in this position, in my opinion, you need either one of two players, either a high medium work rates or a high. Either one of those are fine. If you can't get that, and if you get like a medium, it's not the end of the world. What I find is the best is a high attacking work rate and medium defensive, or high. Either one of those to that position, especially on balance, they work really well because they only come forward when there's a chance for you to go, and they basically position in such a way where they're there for the build up, but they're also there for when you're defending. So that's what I've gone with in terms of my defensive players. My two centre backs, of course, I got them on stay back while attacking. Nothing new there. My goalkeeper, I left them on balanced for the 4-4-2. And then for my left back and right back, I do have them both on stay back while attacking, conservative interceptions and overlap. Conservative interceptions is what I'm using for all left backs and right backs, and I am using overlap as well. People always get this confused. Overlap doesn't mean they're going to be running forward all the time. They're always going to be staying back. But let's say, for example, you triggered this player to make a run, or you did a 1-2. They'll make a run like this. You don't want them to make an inverted run like this because you're just going to push the right mid away. Why would you want your inverted defender to be on the inside and your winger to be on the wing? You want the opposite side. You want your attacking player to attacking through on the inside, and you want your fullback to overlap. So that's what's very, very important. So make sure you put overlap on both the left back and right back, so when they do go forward, they do overlap. The most important thing I would say over here is try to get someone like Kante, someone like Allen, someone like Sissoko is obviously a good player, someone like Emre Can, or even someone like Goretzka can get this job done very, very well, even like Zakaria. Next time I'll say someone like Renato Sanchez, a kind of a mid player. Someone like Pogba could work this role very well, Modric, or even the likes of Kevin De Bruyne. Left mid or right mid, you just need fast players. I ideally want a 5-star weak foot in striker, and that's why I got they're both on stay central, and I got Mbappe, and that's the way I've set mine up. But that is the tactics for the 4-4-2. Hope you enjoyed this video. A bit of a different style this week. Working on a 3-5-2. Hopefully that should be coming out soon. Don't forget, if you haven't followed me on Twitch, twitch.tv/NilGuides as well. I'll be streaming. I'll have the gameplay content out, I would say, in the next couple of days, so you can see me use the 4-4-2 live as well. And don't forget as well, I do have Twitter, twitter.com/NilGuides. Obviously, you can stay tuned and stay updated for over there. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.